Well, our speaker today, Eric Hellman, is a change coach and communications consultant. His passion is sharing his vision of what is spiritually possible while connecting it to our human challenges and what we can do practically to create results in our own lives and for those around us as well. And Nathan as well, our guest musician today, whom you've already heard, is a very gifted speaker, recording artist, coach, and podcaster based in Vancouver. And he believes that his calling in life is to encourage, through his engaging talks, his heart-centered music making, and his warm listening. His CDs, entitled Little by Little and Yes, are celebrations of life, transformation, evolution, and the oneness of humanity, delivered in a variety of popular music styles. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome our dear Nathan and our dear Eric. Over to you.
Trixie. Here's a prayer to you. May all that I think and all that I do be a prayer to you, a prayer to you, a prayer to you. May all that I think and all that I do be a prayer to you, a prayer to you, my love. In every face, may I see you. In every voice, may I hear you. In all that is, may this be true. May we all that I think and all that I do be a prayer to you, a prayer to you, a prayer to you. May all that I think and all that I do be a prayer to you, a prayer to you, my love. In every breath, may I breathe you. In every drop, may I taste you. In all that is, may this be true. May we be one. May I be you. May all that I think and all that I do, please sing with me, be a prayer to you, a prayer to you, a prayer to you. May all that I think and all that I do be a prayer to you, a prayer to you, my love. In May we be one. May I be you. May all that I think and all that I do be a prayer to you. A prayer to you. A prayer to you. May all that I think and all that I do be a prayer to you. A prayer to you, my love. Be a prayer to you, my love. Be a prayer to you, my love. A prayer to you. I gently release all that isn't a part of the master plan for my life, and it gently releases me. I gladly attract all that is a part of the master plan for my life, and it gladly attracts me.
And as you hear those gentle strains of Nathan's beautiful stick and music, I invite you to take a breath. And gently release whatever you've come to through this day and into the service, and just settle back into your chair or whatever you're sitting on. And let go. Let go into a safer place inside. Place of gentleness, love, stillness, and even grace. And just be aware of the feelings and sensations in your body, your hands or your feet, your chest or your seat. Feel yourself relaxing even more as you take another breath. And turn within to that deeper place we sometimes call our connection to God, our Heavenly Father, or beloved Mother, whatever words fit for you. Allow that presence, that meeting of the divine and of yourself, to be what you release into, what you invite in, and gladly attract. And then that, as you do so, open your heart to everyone else on this service. Just feel yourself in mind and heart opening up to others and connecting with them. For you're not just a listener in this, you are a co-creator with everyone here and all that is. And as you send out that love and connection and feel it coming back to you, sit for a few moments in the silence as you're embraced by God. As you begin to hear the words of my mouth and the strains from Nathan's stick begin to come back, feeling yourself nourished inside, stilled and stirred by the presence of the holy and the divine. Feel yourself coming back as you open your eyes, move your hands and your feet and your body. Feel yourself coming back into the room. Perhaps there's a gentle smile that comes to your face, or the need to stretch and move and let that energy begin to ground and deepen in you. Open your eyes to see the words on the screen if you're looking at the computer, or open up your sight to the room around you. Take one more breath. Come back. Be fully present as I say thank you to Nathan for his beautiful music this morning. Bonnie for her rich words of the daily word, and Pixie in hosting and focusing our energy each morning. Thank you, Brother Nathan. So this morning, I can get my technology working. This morning's talk came to me as, is it time to ask for help? Now, some of you may take a gulp as you see those words. I certainly do at times, because it's not always the easiest thing for me. And that's really what my last year has been about. So that's what I want to explore with you today. This month, the 9th month of the year, is opening the door to the next of our 12 powers of unity that we're exploring with you this year. The powers of mind that connect us with our higher self, or the divine. And this month, as you've heard, it's about divine order. Well, those are two words that are simple to say, but not always so easy to understand. My question, as I looked at that, is what in the heaven is divine order? Is it something like this, where you get delivered this incredibly scrumptious pizza? Well, it might be a divine order if it comes from a place called Divine Pizza, but that's not quite the divine order I'm talking about this morning. So let's try another one. Is it something like this? A royal flush. Now, if you play poker, you know that that's a pretty divine hand. Or if you play bridge, this one of strength, aces and kings and others in every suit, that might be heavenly to you as a card player. It's a little closer to the order than I'm exploring with you this morning, but still not quite it. So what gives something divine order? Well, Brother Lawrence Kirby, in June, when he spoke on Father's Day, he quoted from Charles Fillmore's book, The Revealing Word, and he used words like this. In the absolute sense, the divine order, the Father, God, is about the divine mind, unlimited principle, the Almighty One. Other words that Charles and Lawrence used, the all-pervading Spirit, the infinite, the eternal, the supreme being. It's also the creative mind, that source which is unlimited, unrestricted, and free of all limitations. What might be called the true self, both the God self and the Christ self that we are. If we see that as what's true about the universe and ourselves, what kind of order would that bring, or that come from ourselves? You might call it perfect, you might call it heavenly, you might even call it divine. Unity website describes divine order this way. It says, the intelligence of the whole universe expressing through each of us. So just take a moment to imagine, another one of the 12 powers, imagine what the world and our lives would be like if that was true for each of us and all of us and our world. Wouldn't that be amazing? So why don't our lives reflect that? And if you can see the screen, the picture of Garfield lying flat on the floor saying, I am temporarily out of order. Please try again. Does your life ever feel like that? Well, I have to admit mine does at times. When something is out of order, begin to imagine for yourself what that feels like and looks like it. Things don't work properly or at all. Car out of order, a washroom out of order. You get the picture, right? Things don't make sense in the way that they should. Perhaps they even feel chaotic or strange or absurd. And it leaves us feeling, and I leave you to fill in the blank, how does out of order, disordered life feel to you? Chaotic, unhappy? You feel depressed or despondent or just so frustrated with life you could scream. So what is it in our lives that's out of order? Well, it's our bodies and our minds. How many of us have parts of our bodies or our minds that aren't working properly? How many of us have finances out of order, relationships, work, many different parts of our lives out of order? And when we look at our world, the news, the feeds we get from our computer or TV, doesn't it seem like that's really what the world is expressing? Take a breath, because herein lies the paradox of the divine order and what we experience in our daily lives. And you might just say, well, that's part of life, isn't it? And isn't that the kind of strangeness or absurdity of things that we talk about something called divine order, but yet come to accept disorder as the way of life? And when it becomes extreme, it begins to feel something like this. You might call it getting fried. You might call it burnout. You might call it whatever. But that's the way we experience it in day-to-day and moment-to-moment terms at times. And in fact, I hit that place 3 times over the past year. Once was early last summer of 2020, just as COVID was hitting and I was trying to do what I could for the world to help people deal with COVID. It came after Christmas as I just helped my mother and my 92-year-old cousin deal with approaching the season and all that I had to do. And it happened this May and June for some of the same reasons and others. And that's why I asked, based on intuition, to not speak during the summer, because I had to rekindle and reconnect with my own sense of God and love and peace and breath. So what takes us to that place of being fried or burned out or exhausted? Well, I'll speak first from really my experience. The first thing is that we start with caring. We care about something perhaps very deeply. We may even have a really high sense of what we'd like to do or how we'd like the world or our lives to be. And then we overextend. Why do we do that? Well, sometimes it's about pressures that we feel of time or urgency or money. Sometimes it's fears that begin to drive us, like perhaps letting others down if we don't do all and everything we possibly can to make things right or good. And maybe it's expectations like, I must, I have to, I should, in order to do my part, or others put those expectations onto us, or we fear that they're putting those on. And if we don't live up to them, then we move into guilt or dread that we haven't done enough. And we end up sacrificing ourselves or others or the things we care about because it's fear and pressure that's taken over instead of love. And love is turned into hate or resentment over what we're giving or doing. Have you ever gone there in your life? Maybe it wasn't through burnout, but maybe it was in relationship or in work, volunteer work even, where you had something you loved, and through overwork or overpressure, it turned into something that you really didn't want and that was exhausting you. I think probably we've all faced that place in life. So what did I learn from having had that experience 3 times this year? Well, I want to bring you 3 things that I'd like to explore with you a little bit. The first was listening for what am I feeling or needing here? The second was, what are others saying to me or needing in their lives? And what is love or wisdom or the greater self telling me? These were some of the three things in listening that helped me to reconnect with myself and my breath, my presence in my life. The second one was what I call stepping back and stopping doing. As we do in meditation, turning within, being still, takes me out of those outer circumstances and pressures. Listening for what do I need to do here to reclaim my life, my peace and my breath? And what can I let go of? A very practical question when we're doing too much for others or the outside world. We need to practically let go of some things. The third step that really helped me was asking for help. First from a higher self, spirit, or the divine. And the second was practically asking others for their help. Which one of these do you have a challenge with? The second one is particularly challenging for me at times. So how did these help? Well, let me get into some of the specifics of what actually happened. Listening meant that each time I got overdone, overfried, overexposed, I had to feel what I was feeling so that I could recognize where I was in disorder and out of step. Stepping back and stopping doing meant that at times I had to stop answering emails. In fact, at Christmas, I stopped answering emails for close to 3 months. I just had to reclaim my own energy. I had to stop doing phone calls for the most part, and activities and work that were taking me into the red zone. I had to step out of that, let go of those so I could come back and regenerate and refuel. And asking for help, well, I had to ask family and friends to step in and help my mom or help my cousin. I had to ask Unity board members, as I said earlier, to have other speakers during the summer because I just didn't have it to give. I had to, at one point, ask a doctor because in my first period of overwhelm and overworked, I developed a growth on my neck. And 9 months later, my intuition was saying, you better have this checked out. And so I did. Gratefully, it wasn't cancerous, but I needed to ask for help to make sure that I was in order, not in disorder. And I also had to ask professionals in my life for help. And here's this very specific example. In April, I told you about a 92-year-old cousin that lives in a very big old home in Vancouver and lives by himself. And he's reached the point of needing help in his life. So I'm the only family he has in town, so I go to help him. Well, last year he asked me if I could help him defer his taxes with the city and the province, which he'd been doing for the previous 10 years. Well, I went into that, and over a couple of months, I discovered that 1 year of taxes hadn't been paid, and therefore he was out of order in his finances. In fact, he owed over $100,000 in taxes that needed to be paid. And if they weren't in 2021, the city could potentially foreclose his home and put him out of his home of 80 years. Well, you can tell in my voice, that scared me. That scared me deeply. And it took me close to 6 months to try to find a way around it. I was also livid. Why couldn't the province make an adjustment for this 1 year? Why couldn't the city do something? I was railing inside. But it wasn't working. They said, it's out of our hands. Well, one day, as I began to turn within and listen and be still, the idea rose up inside me. What about one of those reverse mortgages that you might have heard of on television? I'm not here advertising reverse mortgages, but I approached a company to see if that might be possible. And over the last 3 months, we've been arranging a reverse mortgage. And just this week, my cousin's taxes got paid, and he's now back in financial order. A big sigh of relief for me particularly, and for him, because I listened and followed what the divine brought up to my awareness. So how can we apply this to our lives and to our world? You know, each of us as individuals are challenged with disorder and discomfort and problems in some part of our lives. And that's personally, but then societally, we face them as well. Political challenges, environmental challenges, social, work, all sorts of challenges. And that's what our world is facing as well. We need larger, deeper answers to take us out of disorder and chaos into harmony and things that work. So what I'd like to do briefly is to take a look at one specific example where some of that is rising to the surface. And it's our own home called Unity White Rock. How might we use listen? Well, the first step is what are board members and members of the spiritual leadership team saying to us? Well, if you've listened to any of the calls, and you might want to do that online if you can, they're saying a number of the board members are going to have to be stepping down because it's just been too much work over the past year and perhaps multiple years. They just don't have more to give, and we need to hear that. What are they asking for? Well, they're asking for more people to step up as board members or volunteers, and have been for some time, but haven't been getting fully the support that they need. Now, this is not a guilt or a should on anyone or anything, but in terms of bringing disorder into order at Unity White Rock, we need to listen and hear that. We also need to listen and hear to what's going on inside ourselves. What do we think or feel should happen? All of these are part of listening. Next one is stepping back. Would you be willing to step back for a moment from the outer concerns you might have of what's happening to Unity White Rock, the fears or concerns you might have of next steps, and even let go of some of the ideas of what you think we should do, and step back to let the divine speak to us. Ask that larger self inside, what are you telling me about what should be done here, could be done here? Asking yourself, what energy do I really have to step out and volunteer or be a board member? Or not, if that's your truth. Be true to thyself. And then what do I need to do? And these are the practical steps of connecting the divine and the human. Do I need to become a board member and do so and register before the 15th of September in order to vote before the 21st about the future of Unity White Rock? Do I have to offer myself up in some volunteer capacity? And how can I do so in integrity and love? Knowing what I'd like to see happen, but what I can really honestly do in my life. You see, what I've come to realize in my high vision, but my practical human self, is that divine order isn't just about using my ideas or my energy to accomplish a result, but it's calling on that larger wisdom and help, both the divine and in the world around me, the people around me, so that better answers come up from within and among us. But it's also about releasing the source of all our problems in the first place. And here's what I mean by that. In A Course in Miracles, Jesus says this: problems are mistakes in consciousness, mistakes from which the Son of God, the child of God, the Christ mind is suffering. And we are all part of that mind. Every problem is an error. It's an outward physical manifestation of an error in thought. And the miracle can correct all errors. The miracle is the releasing in thought of the blocks to the holy or divine presence, which can correct any and all errors on the physical level. It goes on to say, the book, each time you keep a problem for yourself to solve, or judge that it has no resolution, like I did with my cousin's financial problem, you have made it past the hope of healing. Yet the Holy Spirit offers us release from every problem, just as it did with my cousin's financial situation. But we need to step back and ask. So I invite you now to take a moment and join with me and all of us as you sit back, take a breath, and perhaps put your hands over your heart. And as you do that, what I'd like to do is offer you 3 prayers to close for my time today. The first one I call, I give this to you. Lord, God, love, Spirit, I have a problem. I cannot solve it by myself. So I give this to you. Please take it. Solve it for me. And tell me what I need to do. Breathe those in and see what resonates for you. My second prayer I call show me. I want to know your divine order. Even if I don't even know what that is, I want to know your divine order. I seek it. I long for it. I want it. For all the troubles in the world and for all the problems in my life. Show me. Take a breath. Let it go. And here's my third prayer, which I call choose for me. And this is my favorite prayer, one I use every day, multiple times a day for any problem, my own, the ones I see in the world on any level. At some level of thought, my mind has chosen this. And I'm not just speaking my personal mind, but my whole mind, my Christ mind. At some level of thought, my mind has chosen this. But this is a mistake. It's an error. It's not in keeping with your divine will. So Spirit, choose your will for me, for my life, and for the world around me. Take another breath, and I would simply leave you with the thought, may these 3 prayers and all that I've said help each of us to undo that shadow self that's out of order or in despair. And may it open the door to the divine order and will that is right and true for you. God bless. And with that, take a breath. And as I invite in my brother, Nathan, to sing his own song called The Change.
Thank you so much, Brother Eric. What a gift you are. Thank you, thank you. Here's a song of mine called The Change. We have a slide with the words on it, and this really mirrors beautifully what Eric was just talking about in his 3 prayers. So as you get comfortable with the melody, I hope that you join in and sing with me.
Nathan, we can't hear you.
I am willing to listen. I am willing to care. I am willing to say I'm wrong and to be better, my daily prayer. Be more aware and change. The change we seek is within ourselves, and the change will come as long as I'm willing to be the change. Someone or something will show me how, and I'll allow the change. To listen, I am willing to care. I am willing to say I'm wrong and to be better, my daily prayer. Be more aware and change. Change we seek is within ourselves, and the change will come as long as I'm willing to be the change. Someone or something will show me how, and I'll allow the change. Someone or something will show me how, and I'll allow the change.